Information shared on the following program is for general information purposes only. It does not constitute legal, tax, investment, or other advice, nor is it intended to recommend any particular investments, products, or financial instruments. Always seek advice from your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant with regard to investment, legal, or tax questions.
What is it?
It's a one-year membership in the Jelly of the Month Club.
Oh, God.
Clark, that's the gift that keeps on giving the whole year.
Will your retirement include a brand new pool or a lifetime membership to the Jelly of the Month Club?
Welcome to the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money, the WorryFree Retirement, with offices in Louisville and Bowling Green. Your host, five-time author and fiduciary, Tony Walker.
During the month of December, for many people, it's become an annual ritual to watch the hilarious movie Christmas Vacation. Now, to me, one of the most memorable scenes in that movie is the part where Clark Griswold, played by Chevy Chase, finally receives what he thinks to be a very large Christmas bonus, only to discover that instead of a large bonus to cover the cost of a pool that he is already committed to but unfortunately can't afford, he gets a lifetime membership to the Jelly of the Month Club. Now, the paradox to this is, as Clark gazes at the shocker of having no bonus, his cousin Eddie, played by Randy Quaid, looks at the bright side by saying, "That's okay, Clark. It's the gift that keeps on giving." Well, welcome to the Worry-Free Retirement, folks. I am your host, that little man in the sweater vest, 401k rollover specialist and fiduciary, Tony Walker. And for the next 28 minutes or so, we're going to be talking about halftime. That's the period of time in your life when you'll be faced with the prospects of either having the time and money to build and enjoy a pool, so to speak, or if you'll be looking at a lifetime membership in the Jelly of the Month Club award. Now, this scene in Christmas Vacation presents something referred to as a paradox. So a paradox can take on many different definitions and interpretations, but to me, a paradox is this scene where Clark and Eddie making this statement that seems contradictory or opposed to common sense. That is, not getting this huge cash bonus and instead getting a lifetime membership to the Jelly of the Month Club award. So to Clark, it was bad. To Eddie, seemed like it was perfectly legitimate. Now, in his masterful book, The Age of Paradox, Charles Handley deals with this very notion of a paradox. One, to me, the biggest takeaway as a retirement specialist is this. As I watch people try to take more and more money out and convert that 401k into income, as Handy says, remember this, just now seems to contain their own contradictions with so many people with good intentions but unintended consequences. In other words, I think what he is saying is that while you have been told by others, namely the financial world, who obviously wants that huge chunk of money that you've got in your 401k, the financial world keeps telling you to save and save and save and stockpile more in your 401k. In the end, they have good intentions, but they're telling you to take more and more risk by hanging in there with the stock market, which obviously can have unintended consequences once you're in retirement. We'll see today, as Handy puts it, that what got you there may not keep you there. So let's start off this paradox with the richest country in the world that's ever known, and the good old US of A and all the worry that I see that Americans feel about what they saved and what I refer to as halftime. Now, halftime, there's three halves of life, but halftime is that period of time where you're just recently retired or approaching retirement. Now, this should be a time that you use and enjoy your money while you can, but instead, most people I meet, they're afraid to spend it. This is a time when coming up that baby boomers, I'm a baby boomer, by the way, apparently, when baby boomers are supposed to retire and hopefully all this money they've saved begins to work for them instead of you working for the money. Behind this paradox lies the issue, though, that most people aren't going to spend it. Now, it's interesting that according to AARP and other resources, it is estimated that from now until 2030, an estimated 10,000 baby boomers will reach retirement age every day. Let me repeat that. Each and every day between now and the year 2030, an estimated 10,000 baby boomers will call it quits and begin the difficult and uncertain journey of trying to figure out how to take billions and billions of dollars stockpiled with Wall Street, buried in these 401k plans, and then try to unlock that money and somehow figure out how to use and enjoy it. It's a paradox for sure, and certainly a paradox that comes with a lot of fear and worry of running out of money. It's no simple task, it's certainly scary, and it's very hard for savers to get their mind wrapped around this. So here's the deal. Up until retirement, savers have had the luxury of working and living off wages. And with all these baby boomers retiring and all that money that will surely have to be rolled over into the hands of investment advisors such as us, now you know why you keep getting all those dinner seminar invitations in the mail. Folks, the financial world knows you're getting close to retirement. They know that you are at halftime, which means you are starting to think about retirement and how in the world you're going to pull it off. They also know that you have your life savings, most of you, in these 401k plans, and you got to convert it to income. They hope that a nice looking mailer with a picture of a juicy free steak will be enough to get off this couch that you're sitting on now and get in to their seats at the fancy restaurant. So you can hear the dog and pony show, which is fine, about how great the retirement planning process is. Now the result, if a few people attend these steak dinners, turn over their 401ks to these advisors, they'll be in business. If they don't, if you don't attend them, obviously, they're out of business. Now the problem is, from what I can gather from meeting with hundreds of people over the years who have attended these steak dinners, is not one person who has placed business with these advisors, at least the ones I've seen, has actually received a written game plan, now listen specifically, that gives them an assessment of where they are, where they're going, and how in the world they're going to use money and which buckets they're going to draw from. A game plan that is going to be able to address the changes that will surely come your way. And as you move into what I call the second half of life, in the end, what I hear from people is, Tony, I invested all my 401k with this money manager, but to be honest, I don't know if I can build a pool with their advice or if I'm stuck holding a lifetime membership in the Jelly of the Month Club. You know, you are excited about the prospects of a free $50 steak, I get it. And they're excited about the prospects of making lots of money on your money. This show is for the same purpose. We work with other people's money. But it's a paradox depending on whose perspective you're looking at. Oh, and speaking of pools, I don't want to make light of this, but I met a wonderful couple years ago, and this is where the theme of our show is. They were both just a few years away from retirement. They were at halftime, and they wanted to retire, enjoy themselves. She was burned out on work, and he was not in good health. They wanted to enjoy life a little bit. They were unsure of when to retire. I looked at their situation, and I said, ma'am, you can pull this off. Go ahead and retire. Now, when they came back in, after we completed all the implementation, she basically said, well, you know, Tony, we haven't talked about this, but now that I'm retired, one thing I'd like to do is build a pool. And I looked at the husband, and he said, me too. And I said, well, why don't you do it? He blurted out, because we can't afford it. And I said, what do you mean you can't afford it? If I could help you afford it, would you build it? And he said, well, yeah, I guess so. Can you help me do that? I said, sure, you got the money for that. So I showed him how to free up cash flow to build this pool because she was going to be at home full time. She wanted to build the pool. Now, unfortunately, as this gentleman's health worsened, he recently passed away at the ripe young age of 64. Now, as we do for all of our clients, if they lose a spouse, I meet with them in person. I go through all the death claim processes. We make sure our staff that we handle everything that we've done. They don't have to do anything. So I was meeting with this grieving widow, and I asked her a little bit about her husband. And I said, I remember that incident with the pool, all the trouble you had to go through to get the pool. I mean, they're having to bring cranes in, and a neighbor wouldn't let him come across the yard. It was definitely a paradox. But I said, let me ask you something. Did your husband really enjoy the pool after you spent the money on it? And she said, he loved that pool. So the point is, folks, halftime is the real time to start enjoying your money while you can. Now, when we come back, this is some good stuff coming up. I'm going to go over on the whiteboard how we're going to take this money, all right, an example of an actual case, and turn it into a game plan and an assessment that you can trust. You're watching the WorryFree Retirement. I'll be right back. Have you recently retired, been laid off, or offered a buyout? Has a company you work for recently moved or been acquired or closed its doors forever? Then take advantage of this opportunity to move your 401k to safer territory. Why continue to risk your hard-earned money when you don't have to? Let's meet in person today to discuss your retirement options. Log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com to schedule your no-obligation appointment to meet with me in person. Do it today.
Tired of the financial world chasing after your money? Dinner seminar invitations? Annoying pop-up ads on your computer from out-of-state advisors? It all adds up to confusion. There is a better way. Meet in person with nationally recognized retirement specialist Tony Walker. Tony's personal one-on-one approach has helped thousands of savers worry less about money, and best of all, Tony's right in our own backyard. Don't leave your retirement to chance. Make the short drive to meet in person with Tony now. To get started, simply log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement. Sorry, folks, I don't have the whiteboard out just yet. In fact, at the break, there was really some more information we needed to cover. America's favorite financial sidekick, Aaron Orander, he's on the case. He said, Tony, we got one more slideshow you've got to cover that's imperative. So I said, okay. Oh, by the way, Aaron has a brand new sidekick himself. That's Megan Murphy, who just recently joined us. She's replacing our own Matt Stebbins, who's doing some contract work for us now. So we've appreciated Matt's time a great deal, and we welcome Megan to the program. You know, according to the actuaries out there, those are the folks that sit around all day and seriously try to figure out how long we're going to live and when we're going to die. That's called your life expectancy. And assuming you're 65 years of age and in decent health, these actuaries tell us that for males, you can expect to live another 11 years or so. For females, on average, these gals live about 16 years. So think about this. You've worked 65 years, or at least been on planet Earth for 65 years, and the actuaries tell you after 65 on average, you only got 11 years to live if you're a male and 16 if you're a female. So you're maybe sitting there going, Tony, you telling me them females outlive us males? And I say, hey, as proof, run over to the local nursing home, and yeah, you're going to see probably 9 females for every male. Lucky dog you. Anyway, another paradox, so it is with retirement. You and I work for some 65 years or whatever it is. We've saved all this money and done without to what? Retire and not spend our money, only to one day get sick and eventually one day die, and then unfortunately have to leave it to somebody possibly that won't be as responsible with it as you are. This is a paradox, and it's got to change. Your hard-working money, your money that you're risking right now, cannot go down in value. And let's face it, again, if you're at halftime, if you're over the age of 55 and under the age of 70, we got to figure out a way to strike a balance between protecting it, but yes, also using and enjoying it. You know, over the past few weeks, we've been diving into this notion of how do you assess your present financial situation so that you can be more worry-free about spending and enjoying your money in retirement. Last week, we talked about properly assessing the first half, and now we're at halftime. So here we are. Charles Handy again refers to this paradox. While you've been working and saving hard, the financial world has been making money on your money. Then all of a sudden, you retire. It's at halftime. You have to go to the financial world, and they're going to basically usually just roll this money into something very quickly and wish you well for the rest of your life. Folks, that is not retirement planning. So what I'm going to do when we come back, we're going to spend a lot of time on an actual situation, on a case that I've been working on. We're going to change the names and the ages a little bit to protect the innocent, but we're going to go through all of the different things that a trained retirement specialist has got to assess before ever recommending products. And then you're going to see why that trained retirement specialist better have a team of service professionals behind them, because things will change, that's for sure. All right, let me get the whiteboard out. You're watching the Worry-Free Retirement. I'll be right back.
Win or lose, games are a blast, but playing around with your retirement is serious business. So don't leave your retirement to chance. Get a retirement game plan from well-known retirement specialist Tony Walker. Learn how to be worry-free in retirement with a safe and simple game plan that includes mailbox money for life. To meet in person with Tony, log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. That's TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
The 401k drop was tremendous, is tremendous at this point in time, and that's where the savings was. So that's our hurt right now.
We can't live our vision of our dream of retirement. That's the worst part. Many people can't.
And what was your dream?
Our dream was to have a log cabin up north, Leland area, and just live a nice, quiet life.
Well, there you go. Retirement dream shattered is exposed in this 60-minute piece done shortly after the crash of 2008. A paradox, as Handy would say, what got this couple to retirement, a nice 401k, ended in 2008 when the market crashed. Now, with their 401k looking more like a 201k, he's back to work and she'll never get the cabin of her dreams. As Handy says, a paradox needed. What got them to retirement, putting all their money at risk in their 401k, certainly in this example, won't keep them there. So that's what we're covering today. We're taking Handy's quote of what got you there won't keep you there. And again, folks, I have no clue what the stock market's going to do. Neither does anybody else. That's the whole point. So this was an actual case I'm working on. Again, I've kind of changed the ages and all that to protect the innocent, as we like to say. But we basically have a couple. She's 65. Her husband is 71. Now, in this example, he's already retired. He has $100,000 in his IRA, all right? He's already taking his RMD, or required minimum distribution. He gets $2,400 a month Social Security. He's kind of from the old school. He got a pension, which is $3,000 a month. Now, at his death, remember we saw those statistics earlier, he's probably going to die first based on his age. She would then get a 50% survivor benefit, meaning she would get half of $3,000 a month. Okay, so far so good. So she comes to me and she says, all right, Tony, what do I do with this 401k plan? Now, interesting, she's got over 80% of it in the stock market. Now, granted, the stock market's done great lately. We're recording this show in April of 2019. It's been on a roll, folks. But as we're going to see in a minute, that doesn't hold water if the market goes down, and why this person is so concerned about retiring now. She's thinking about retiring, but intuitively, she's a saver. She's really worried about losing this money, and as these people saw, one day having to go back to work if in fact this thing becomes a 201k instead of a 401k. So let's look at her assets. Well, first of all, she doesn't have a pension. A lot of you out there don't have pensions. You've got all of your money in the 401k, which is fine. I always like to say a 401k is a great savings tool, but it is a lousy planning tool. You're going to have taxes you got to deal with. You don't know when to take it out. If you've got it in the market, you could one day run out of money. When do you take it with Social Security? All these things that we as retirement specialists will help you think through. You know, the old days, yeah, this old fella here, he takes his $3,000 a month and says, I'm good, I got mailbox money. She doesn't have a pension. Now, we'll later on show her how to turn this into mailbox money, but let's just look at if she left things where they are. Again, she thinks what got her there is going to keep her there. So, she does have some savings in the bank. She has Social Security if she takes it now, $2,400 a month. She doesn't know if she wants to take it now. We may or may not recommend that, but depending on the planning we get into, we're just saying what she's eligible for now. And by the way, again, she also has a goal. This happens sometimes. She would like a new car. Remember our example, the person that wanted a new pool. She wants a new car. I'm already saying, where are you going to get the money for that? You know, if you take it out of here, it's all going to be taxed first. So if you want a $40,000 vehicle, you don't have it in savings, you're going to have to take out 60 to net 40 from your 401k, which she doesn't want to do. All right, so let's see what happens. So in this example, we're going to imagine she just stays with the stock market. So she goes to her friendly wealth manager, okay, money manager, whatever you want to call them, and they say, oh, you should safely be able to take out a withdrawal of 4%. Okay, I'm just going to use some quick numbers here, my cheat notes, which that means you can take out $20,000 per year. Now, this is not guaranteed because this is a money managed account. They're making some assumptions here, or $1,600 a month. And she says, hey, that's good income, that's fine. In fact, I'll just delay my Social Security. That should be plenty for now. I got my husband's pension, Social Security. Oh, by the way, this fella, all his life, listened to all those people on the internet and the radio. He has no life insurance. We'll see this is a big problem here in just a second. But anyway, let's just say after the first year, between year 1 and 2, the market doesn't do anything. And the person says, well, that's okay. I didn't lose any money. I took out $20,000. But at the very end of the year, we have a correction like we had at the end of last year in 2008. That thing goes down 20%. Folks, this could happen. 2000, 2001, 2002, the market went down every year during that 3-year period. So imagine this person's retired and all of a sudden this happens. She loses 20%. As well, the money manager is charging 1.5%. By the way, if you want us to manage money for you, we do a lot of annuities, but a lot of people don't know we manage money. We use Charles Schwab as our custodian, 0.6%. Well, this 1.5% is going to run her $7,500 a year. She's taking out $20,000 a year. Look at this. Now, beginning at the year 2, because of the losses, because of the fees, because of the withdrawal, her account is now only worth $376,000. Now, again, this is almost getting like that 60 Minutes clip. Her first reaction is going to be, uh-oh, why did I ever quit my job? And now, Tony, am I going to have to go back to work? This is why I'm not going to take that responsibility as a fiduciary to put a saver's money in this kind of position. It's irresponsible, and it's something we are not going to do. So if you're a saver and you're going into retirement, you got 80% of your money in the market, let the buyer beware, because this can happen. Now let's keep moving with this. Let's say all of a sudden she's gone through this. I'm just using examples, worst case scenario, and all of a sudden he dies. Could happen, right? Now what's going to happen? Well, guess what? She loses his $2,400 Social Security, or she could take hers. They're the same. You don't get both. So her income now drops by $2,400. She goes on and elects hers. The broker or the money manager says, hey, Sally, because you're down to $376, we better only take out 3%. We don't want this thing to run out. Well, now that drops her income down to $941 a month, okay, instead of $1,600 a month, because they don't want to run out of money. This is the only problem with a money manager. If they lose money, all they can tell you to do is take less money. And that's not what we're about with the Worry-Free Retirement. We want you to take this same amount of money for the rest of your life. Why do you want to take less because of a downturn in the market? It makes no sense for savers. Also, her income drops by $1,500 a month, right? Because at his death, she only gets 50% of this. And this is why we recommend people, while you're in good health, to have permanent life insurance. Can you imagine if he had had $400,000 or $500,000 of life insurance tax-free? That could have gone to her to replace all this lost income. And then basically her only response is, I guess I got to go back to work. Well, folks, if you're retired or nearing retirement, if you're at halftime and nobody's doing this kind of assessment, the problem is they probably don't have the expertise to do it. That's why nobody talks about this, but we do. At Tony Walker Financial, not only do I have 35 years of experience, I've worked with thousands of people. We've done thousands of income plans, and I have a great team of service professionals that stands behind our work, not only today when you're retiring, but as you move into the second half of life. So take advantage of talking to me in person, either by phone or in person, by logging on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, clicking on that Let's Get Started button. Once you do that, your information is sent confidentially to our office, and we will contact you to arrange a time over the phone or in person. I look forward to doing that with you. Well, when we return, we're going to come back with a little bit about what the Bible has to say about this whole notion of spending money and enjoying money. Does God think you ought to do that? Oh, some good words from Scripture, but as you know, I got to get me a cup of coffee. I'll be right back.
Worried about running out of money in retirement? For a limited time, 5-time author and retirement specialist Tony Walker is making available his latest book, Mailbox Money for Life. For your free copy, simply log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
Have you recently retired, been laid off, or offered a buyout? Has the company you work for recently moved or been acquired or closed its doors forever? Then take advantage of this opportunity to move your 401k to safer territory. Why continue to risk your hard-earned money when you don't have to? Let's meet in person today to discuss your retirement options. Log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com to schedule your no-obligation appointment to meet with me in person. Do it today.
Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement with the money missionary himself, Tony Walker.
You know the biggest paradox in the world today? The fact is that according to the Bible, Christians should be the most liberated people in the world when it comes to using and enjoying their money. However, for some reason, I guess personally I'm going to have to chalk that up to misguided teaching from well-intentioned folks in the pulpit or in Sunday school classes. But these Christians can be some of the most uptight people when it comes to money and their ability to just chill out and learn to use and enjoy it. In fact, I've learned that this ability to use and enjoy your money is a gift from God. Where did I learn it from? The richest man the world has ever known, Solomon. Now, I discovered this truth where in the book of Ecclesiastes, he shares the first half and the halftime of his life where he gathered more money than anyone had ever gathered for themselves and lavished himself with every pleasure imaginable. But there was a paradox to this lifestyle, to this lavish form of living. Solomon discovered that without God in the helm, at the mix, Solomon discovered that there would be no joy and, of course, no lasting contentment. In fact, he covers this in Ecclesiastes chapter 2, verse 24, where he says, "There is nothing better for man than to eat and drink and tell himself that his labor is good. This also I have seen, that it is from the hand of God." Solomon goes on down in 25, "For who can eat and who can have enjoyment without him?" You see, folks, when you have your mind and heart set on God, you have the liberty to now use and enjoy your money. Without God, this money will not be enjoyable, but in some cases, I think, can actually be a curse. Solomon says in chapter 3, verse 12, "I know that there is nothing better for them than to rejoice and to do good in one's lifetime. Moreover, that every man who eats and drinks sees good in all his labor. It is the gift of God." Now, he didn't say a gift, but the gift. And do you sense that in your own life? Do you sense that God is in your labor? Do you sense that He wants you to enjoy the fruits of your labor? While you can, of course. If you do, praise God. If not, maybe consider turning to God with this money that you've worked so hard for and try to find Him in it. Well, how about you? You may be saying, "Tony, all this is well and good, but I don't have anyone in my corner that I feel is working in my best interest." Someone possibly such as yourself who truly wants to help me use and enjoy this money while I can without putting it all at risk. Well, if that's you, if that's how you feel right now, I can surely be of help. For the past 35 years, I've made it my life's work to help savers worry less about money, and I'd like the chance to help you too. Let's visit. There's absolutely no cost or obligation. All you got to do is log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Now, once there, you're going to click on the Let's Get Started button, and that information is confidentially sent to our offices, and we will arrange a time either by phone or in person to meet with you to see how we can help you be more worry-free. Do it today. Log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Well, we hope you've enjoyed today's program. Next week on the WorryFree Retirement, we're continuing our assessment, but this time we're going to be looking at what I call the second half of life. So if you have aging parents or you yourself are over the age of 70, you're going to see this is a totally different way to look at retirement, one that's refreshing and more realistic, and I guarantee you'll be more worry-free after watching it. Also, don't forget to DVR the program anytime. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching the Worry-Free Retirement with Tony Walker. If you need a safe and simple game plan for your retirement, log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and schedule a free, no-obligation meeting with Tony.